Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the New Flame Sports Podcast. I'm your host Andrew, along with nobody else. But I hope you saw the NFL episode. I thought it was pretty good, not gonna lie. But here we are with the MLB news of the past week or so. It's been so long since I've talked about the MLB, and it's such a shame. I love the MLB, and I'm happy to be back talking about it. But big news out of Los Angeles. Anthony Rendon is coming back. The only reason I've realized this is because he's on my fantasy team. And, my team is, either no one is, playing well, or either someone's not playing well or they're hurt. I've had to, plug and fill guys. I've had to pick up, I picked up Will Myers. I've picked up Mitch Haniger. I picked up other guys like that. But Rendon is back for the Angels. He's playing tonight. So thank goodness I needed him back. Even though Justin Turner has played great at third base, he's going to continue to be my third baseman. But, I just got him. And then I also have Brian Hayes at third base. So my third basemen are stacked right now. But anyway, he is back. And Rendon is back, and that is amazing. But first thing I want to talk about right now is Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, if you haven't heard about it, I'm shocked if you haven't. But what's been happening is he was injured. He came back. He's been playing really, really well. Dodgers Padres. That first series was playoff baseball, man. In April, that series had it all. It was a fantastic series, and there's another one now, but. Um, I just want to talk about it because, so if you remember back to spring training, Trevor Bauer supposedly pitched with one eye closed. I mean, he did, but to Jose Ramirez, his former teammate in Cleveland with the Indians, and so basically Tatis, he hits a home run off Bauer. Nothing suspicious there, but when he crosses first place, he kind of does like a shuffle, like a what they're called, like karaoke's or something like that, and he covers one eye, looks at Bauer. Bauer didn't really notice, and that was that. And then his second or third at bat, off Bauer, what happens is everything's away, slider, cutters, mostly sliders away to Tatis from Bauer, and then, so basically, what happened was Tatis. So I think it was Austin Barnes who was catching. It might have been Will Smith, but he puts down a sign. Tatis kind of looks down at the catcher, but he probably thought he saw him move his shoulder, so he was ready for an outside pitch again. And so basically what happened, he looked down at the catcher, he saw where the pitch was coming. There was no way he saw the signs because by the time he looked down, the catcher's hand was already behind his back, so there's no way he could have told what pitch it was. But he sees where it's gonna be, and he's ready for that outside fastball or whatever it's gonna be, and he absolutely crushes the ball that's a foot out of the zone. And it's got people wondering, is this sign stealing? Well, it isn't, because a lot of people like to point out, well, he's stealing signs. Yes, he is, but he's not going to the extent of the Astros, where he's using electronics, where he's using cameras out in center field, where he's using trash cans to bang on, depending on what pitch is coming. But it's not like that. It's just he's just looking at it, and honestly, it's not even he didn't even know what pitch was coming. All he knew was where it's gonna be, and you can tell that from looking out of the back of your eye and looking at the not back of the eye, but your side of the eye, and telling where the catcher is gonna be. You don't necessarily have to turn your head. And also, is it too unrealistic for Tatis to expect it to be outside? Everything has been outside to Tatis all game, even that first at bat. And so I don't understand why people are saying "Oh, this is so bad. He needs to be suspended. Oh, he needs this." I mean, he definitely should stop. I don't think that should be cool or whatever. But he also shouldn't be suspended. He should probably be fined I don't know, $100,000. Nothing too crazy like that. Probably not even, probably 50K. I don't even know. If it was the NFL, you're gone for 2 weeks. But whatever. MLB. But I think that people are just now they're just so skeptical that everyone is sign stealing after the Astros thing, and and like this is just another piece of the puzzle. And I, I was I was thinking, I was like, no one's gonna remember that in 5 months. Like when it's the middle of October, Padres are making a deep playoff run of, unless of course something else comes of it, that like the Padres, the entire team was stealing signs and all that, but no one else was. It was just Tatis, and he's using his baseball IQ, and like he's looking in at, and it's allowed for pitchers to like look in at the catcher at second, for like a base runner to look in at second base to see if like, hey, a curveball is coming. This pitcher's got a slow delivery. Let me try to steal. It's basically the same thing that as that. So I don't think there's a huge problem with it. He should definitely stop, but it's not as big of a deal as everyone is making it out to be. Um, so that's that. Those are my opinions on it. But coming back, another thing, as well as Rendon coming back for the Angels, Mike Trout is also coming back. He had a slight contusion, and remember the last time we heard contusion from the Angels, that was Dexter Fowler, and well, he has a torn ACL. So we were just really hoping that that did not happen with Trout. Thankfully, it did not. He's healthy. He's back. He's back in the lineup, and yeah, good. That's good. Like I don't think there's anything like that needs to be that like needs to be concerned about. But moving on, Rockies GM Jeff Bridich is stepping down. Like, thank goodness. Like, there was a great video by this channel called Foolish Baseball. If you haven't watched him, you should. He's fantastic. He makes great baseball videos. I'll leave the link to that specific video about the Rockies I'm talking about. But how do you trade away Nolan Arenado and $50 million for nothing? Like, how do you do that? Like, I don't understand. So, he's stepping down. He's letting a new GM come into town, and hopefully he's going to do a better job than he did in his however long he's been there. He has just been awful for that team. They have not been good since 2018, and even then, they barely made the playoffs. Um, so it's about time that he stepped down. Continuing on, players, like there's been so many, like great rookies come up this season. We've seen Akil Badu, Yerman Mercedes for the White Sox. We've seen, I'm trying to think who else. Technically, Jake Cronenworth is a rookie again this year. But another guy for the Texas Rangers. Let's see. I forgot his name. Adolis Garcia. That's right. Adolis Garcia. He's been hitting very well this past week. He had like 2 home runs in a game. It's hit 333, slugged 875 in a week with 4 home runs and 9 RBIs for the Rangers this past weekend. If they can get production from guys like this, who guys like no one's really heard of before, and like just guys like that, and so I think that the Rangers, yes, they're still going to be really bad, but they're not going to be as bad as people think. And then he was AL Player of the Week, if you couldn't tell. And then next we got Madison Bumgarner and Tatis. Obviously, like I said, he hit 5 home runs this week. He went insane coming off that injury. He looks completely fine. And now it's a battle of, I think, who's gonna is he gonna win an NL MVP? Let me know. I think right now he's putting up a very strong case, but you also look at guys like Acuna, who could put up a fight. DeGrom is going insane right now. So he may make a case for NL MVP as a pitcher. Then also Madison Bumgarner, who threw a no hitter, but it was 7 innings because of the doubleheader. They played a doubleheader, and he did not allow a hit through 7 innings. So take it as you want. I'm gonna say it's a no. It is technically a no hitter, but there's gonna be a little asterisk next to it and say it was only 7 innings. Moving on, we got some more injuries. We got Byron Buxton. Is out. There's a big wind gust. I don't know if you could hear that, but anyway, Byron Buxton, he's been out for a couple of days now. He's been one of the best players in all of baseball this year. 382, 6 home runs. He's been a monster this year, but Buxton, let's see. Buxton is not on the lineup Monday due to patella tendonitis in his knee. It's an issue he's been dealing out without throughout the season, according to Rocco Baldelli. The outfielder has been one of the best hotters. 6 home moves. Ryan Buxton is out today they'll get Buxton treated today. Hope to have him back there out for tomorrow. So as long as nothing really happens here, I think Byron Buxton will be fine. He'll be out for 1 or 2 days, but after that, they're looking to see him come back tomorrow. You'll probably seeing this on Tuesday, but tomorrow, Tuesday, April 27th, we just talked about Mike Trout. He's back. Christian Yelich, he had an MRI on his back, and nothing too crazy here. Nothing came back too bad. There's no structural damage here. It says last game action on April 11th. He's eligible to come off the injured list April 24th, but I think he might stay a couple more days on the IL just to fully recover. And if the Brewers need him, man, if they're getting a Cy Young type of play from Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff is pretty good, and then that bullpen Devin Williams has not been as dominant as he was last year, but you still got Josh Hader in there. Freddie Peralta's having a good season so far, but Brewers are going to need him if they want to, really have a good season this year and try to make a case for that NL Central. Moving on to the NL West, we got Tommy Pham of the Padres. There's nothing much about him as he was moved from Sunday's game, so there's not been a whole lot, no MRIs done or anything like that, so there's not much to talk about. So I'm not going to talk about much there. Yadier Molina, likely avoid a stint on the IL as he deals with a right foot injury. He's been out the past couple of days, and Harrison Bader could also join the team for the first time this season. Within the next 7 to 10 days, really fast, good outfielder. For defensive, he can get the bat going. He could be, a key piece to the Cardinals, division title this year that they're going for. So, who knows if they can get good production from Bader, Molina, who was having a great start to the season, before he got hurt. If he can, come back and, play well, I think that they'll be very happy with that. Moving on, Lance Lynn. He was put on the IL just because of precautionary measures. Yes, he had to miss 1 or 2 starts, but at the end of the day, Lance Lynn will be fine. He said himself that he wasn't feeling great, but he also wasn't feeling 100%. He wasn't feeling horrible, like he was at 50%, but it was just precautionary. They traded a really not so hefty price for him. Yes, they gave up Dane Dunning, who's been pretty good this season for the Rangers, but Lance Lynn said that as soon as he's eligible, he's likely to come off the IL. The team has said it, so Lance Lynn is one of those workhorse pitchers who will fight through anything. But unfortunately, they just wanted to make sure this time that this didn't lead to anything further, so they put him on the IL. Smart for the White Sox, and so not much to talk about there. Moving on, Christian Pache for the Braves, 10-day IL on Saturday. He was sent to the alternate site and it was put on the 10-day IL. Let's see, moving on. Christian Pache is healthy, but the Braves are going to allow their prospect to spend a little more time developing his offensive approach before placing him back on the active roster. He's activated on the 10-day IL, but he was just sent back down to the AAA team, but he did tweak his left groin. Oh wait, no, that was a while ago. But anyway, Christian Pache, he's healthy, but he's just in the minors just because, they want him to get more at-bats. And I think they kind of rushed him last year, putting him into the playoffs. And, he was up in some pretty crucial spots last year in the NLCS. And I just don't think that was good for him. I think he needed another year to develop maybe. And yes, he'll be 23, which is kind of late, but if that's what it takes for him to be that player that the Braves know he can be. So I think it'll be worth it in the long run if they just kept him down there for a little bit longer. Maybe they called him up for September call-ups again like they did last year. I think that will be beneficial for him. Moving on, Jake Odorizzi, who was signed by the Astros and with Framber, I think it was Framber Valdez getting hurt. But apparently, Houston is calling this injury the best case scenario for Jake Odorizzi, who could only miss 2 turns of the rotation after he diagnosed the right pronator muscle strain. on the 10-day IL. He left the game on the against the Angels the other day, but according to the Astros, it's nothing too major, and he should only miss 2 turns through the rotation, like it said. So not a whole lot to to be worried about there. He'll be fine once he comes back. This is just another precautionary measure. So it is what it is there with the Astros. Continuing the theme with the Astros, apparently Jose Altuve had COVID, and so he's back. He's been playing pretty well this season, and so he's back for the Astros. Which if he can go back to that MVP level, that they'll be fantastic with that. And they will be very happy. But moving on now, we have like I said, Jose Altuve back from COVID. Continuing on, we got moving. I cannot find much more to talk about here, but I would like to continue talking about my favorite team, the New York Yankees. So as we all know, there was that huge slump, like a week and a half long. We were on like a 5-game losing streak, and all that craziness was happening with the team. No one was hitting, no one was pitching besides Garrett Cole, and I feel like that entire time, especially once it hit the series versus Atlanta, we were staying competitive for a little bit of the game till like the 7th inning, or 5th, 6th, 7th inning, and that's where we were blowing it. And so I feel like if and that entire time I was just thinking like, oh man, it's just gonna take one hit to get out of this funk. It's just gonna take one hit. It's gonna take one clutch hit to one clutch like hit up the middle to tie the game or win the game or something like that. It's just gonna take one more, and it didn't really take one. It took like little bits and pieces of this and that to get back going, and then it looked like versus Cleveland, we found it, and we were playing top end pitchers: Zach Plesac, Shane Bieber, Aaron Savale, and then Tristan McKenzie carved us up. But still, those 3 pitchers: Shane Bieber, Aaron Savale, and um, Zach Plesac are still really good pitchers. Aaron Savale, he's pretty underrated in my opinion. Plesac, we all saw what he could do last year. He broke out last year, and then Shane Bieber obviously won Cy Young, and we were able to hit off those guys. We were able to get runs. We were able to do this and that. Granted, it was all via the home run, but still, we were getting back on the right track. Pitching was better. It all started with Garrett Cole. Um, we got a decent start from Jordan Montgomery. We got a decent start from who else pitched in that series? Tyone did not pitch well. That's one guy that we need to get going. Tyone and Kluber, the 2 offseason acquisitions at pitcher, need to get going. And I know they're coming off injuries and all that, but and while we're on the topic of that, Corey Kluber, I feel like there was the game where he pitched versus the Rays. He let out in the 5th inning. So I feel like once we can build up their stamina, or if he just stays as a guy who can go 4 innings, he's gonna be a safety valve. Like, oh, say like Davy Garcia was just called up today or yesterday, and is like, if Davy Garcia only goes like 1 or 2 innings, we can bring in Kluber to go 4 to 5 innings, and then that'll give us a lot more flexibility. Where if a pitcher has a blow up start, and we just need to get through the game, we don't want to use Chad Green or Chapman or O'Day, who's pitching really well this year, but we just want to get through another 4 to 5 innings. We can just bring in Kluber, and we'll be all set. And then that gives us a lot more flexibility. And then also when Severino comes back around the All-Star break, yes, they'll be doing the same thing with him. They probably might start him in the bullpen, and by then he'll be able to throw, he'll be able to pitch and all that. He'll probably start in the bullpen, but I think if we can move Kluber to that long relief, or even if we move Tyone, who I think Kluber, his stuff is looking better than Tyone right now, and if we move Tyone to the bullpen, or we move Kluber to the bullpen, whoever we move, and then Severino comes back, and then he starts pitching, and then I feel like just one thing is going to lead to another, and eventually we're going to find a groove, and I feel like we started to find it a little bit versus the Indians in that 4-game series. Mike Ford was hitting even. Rougned Odor, who has, he doesn't have the highest average, but he's hitting clutch home runs. He hit one versus the Rays. He hit a couple versus the Cleveland Indians, and he's just coming up big clutch situations, and and like Luke Neto doing like when we traded for him, I was like, what are we doing? Like Luke Neto door really? Is this what we're getting? We're this desperate for help on offense? But it's turned out to be not a bad trade. They DFA'd him, so it was practically we just signed him as he was a free agent. So signing Odor, has not turned out to be bad. Yes, he still strikes out a whole lot, and that's not what we want in our lineup. But he's gonna hit a clutch home run here and there, and he's got the playoff experience with the Rangers. He knows how to. He's just a smart guy. I feel like who knows what he's doing. He may not be the best of player, but I feel like he brings a certain energy to a ball club. And so we got him hitting. Urshela was like a lone bright spot during that like 10 game streak where we went like 2-8. Urshela was hitting. He had and so and then Cole obviously is going for AL Cy Young this year. He's been pitching fantastic this year. So happy I got him in fantasy. I mean, my team is pretty good. I am in fourth out of 8 places right now, but it's okay. Everyone's been hurt. Once I get healthy, I'll be fine. But anyway, moving on. But with the Yankees, I feel like we finally found our stride versus the Indians, versus some top end pitchers, like I said, in Bieber, Savale, and Plesac. So now, if we can just continue this, we're playing the Orioles. It'll be a soft reset again, and Matt Harvey is curving us up right now. As I'm recording this, it is 1-0 Orioles. As Cedric Mullins hit a home run, and so and we got bases runner on first and second. Hicks is up. Hicks is starting to hit a little bit, but it's just that this Orioles series, these next however many games, how many games is it gonna be? One, two, three, four. These next 4 games, and even into the next series with the Tigers, we have another one, two, three. We have another 3 versus the Tigers. So the next 7 games, the next 7 days for the Yankees is going to be a very hard reset for us. We need to, get focused. We need to get going, and we need to get good pitching performances from Kluber. Herman, I'm not expecting anything from Montgomery, and then Cole is obviously going to go after him probably. But if we can just get more consistency, I feel like, because there are times where we'll hit home run after home run after home run, and then there will be just days on end where we score 1 to 3 runs a game. So we just need consistency in our team, and we just don't have that. Another thing that we need is there's a thing called 3 true outcome baseball or something like that, where you either home run, strikeout, or walk. That is what this era of baseball is becoming. A great example of this is Joey Gallo, who either hits absolute just missiles out into the outfield for home runs, strikes out, or walks. And we need less of that, and we need more Gio Urshela's. We need more. DJ LeMahieu is our MVP, so we just need more Gio Urshela's. We need more. We don't need the Gary Sanchez. So if we were to trade him for someone like, I don't think the Diamondbacks would be willing to give him up, but Carson Kelly, who's on fire right now, we could trade for him. We could trade for this guy. We could trade for that guy. It doesn't really matter, but I feel like we just need someone else at catcher. Another guy that I would want to get rid of would be Stanton. Stanton just has not been playing well this past few years. Yes, he's had a couple big moments. He had 2 home runs in a game versus the Indians and all that, but at the same time, like, we need a fresh start. And if we could trade for a guy like a Mitch Haniger would be great for our team. He hits 280 to 300 somewhere in there. He's gonna give you 20 plus home runs. He's gonna drive in 80 plus RBIs. Put him in that lineup, and he's gonna hit. He's been hitting with the Mariners, and Kyle Lewis is coming back. Taylor Trammell has been playing really well, and if the Mariners are like not in position to compete by the deadline, and the Yankees just need that next guy, we could make a big trade with the Mariners for Mitch Haniger. I really like Mitch Haniger. I think he's really underrated, coming off an injury last year. So I think if we get him or someone like, I'm just trying to run through players in my head. Or let's see, let's look through here. Mitch Haniger is the one guy that's coming to my mind, but uh, a guy like I'm trying to look at like outfielders here. Maybe like a guy like Ian Happ or someone like that. I don't know if the Cubs would want to give him up. Maybe a Chris Taylor even at the deadline, or just someone that can play the outfield for us, or an Adam Duvall from the Marlins. I don't know if they'd want to trade him though, but there are just so many guys that you can look at. You're like, oh, we could trade for that guy. We could trade for that guy. We could get good. We could get good pieces for him and all that. But I just think if these just we just one or two like we trade away one or two pieces and we get one or two back and we're like right there and we're ready to go win that 20th World Series ring. So and then another thing is the pitching. We need Zach Britton. And when we first traded for him in 2019, maybe it was 2018, but whenever we first traded for him, he was doing good, but he just, whenever I seemed to watch him, he just always blew up. And so that's why I was like, oh, this guy's awful. He's not doing well. We lost the trade or whatever, but he's been pitching well and he's been hurt and he's hurt this year. So once he comes back, we'll get all the guys back. We'll have Justin Wilson, Dalen O'Day, who's pitching fantastic this season. I must say. We'll get Chapman. We'll have Green. We'll have Loizaga, who's pitching well this season. We just sent down Nick Nelson. He has just not been able to find it this year. He looked great in spring training, but he just has not been able to put it together in the majors this year. But we have all these guys that we can do something with, and it's just a matter of can we do this? So I think we're just one or two pieces away that if we could trade for someone or we could get someone else, I think we'd just be set and we'd it'd be big chillin'. So I just think that there are so many ways that we could go with this team. And like I said, Mitch Haniger, I feel like he's so underrated, he's so good, and just I think that would be a perfect trade piece for the New York Yankees. If I'm being honest, he's not a three true outcome baseball player like we have so many right now, like Stanton or like Sanchez or someone like that. Or Sanchez never walks, but whatever. You know what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, we need another outfielder, and I learned this from my dad today that apparently Aaron Judge was like the Yankees were listening to calls for Aaron Judge. Now I don't think they would ever trade him. If they were, they would need like a big player like a Juan Soto or Ronald Acuna Jr., someone like that, or Mike Trout even like. And like we were talking, my dad and I we were talking about this briefly. We were like, what is a trade package that the Yankees could do for Mike Trout? And I said it would either have to include Jason Dominguez or Aaron Judge, one of the two. But so my trade package was Jason Dominguez, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, Nick Nelson. Maybe not. Maybe no. Probably. Oh, what's his name? Not Brooks Krisky. Clark Schmidt. Clark Schmidt, Jason Dominguez, Sanchez, and Stanton for Mike Trout. I would do that trade in a heartbeat. We get Higashioka playing every day. Higashioka, he's so good, and I don't understand why Boone isn't playing him more. He only plays every fifth day whenever Cole pitches. And so he's like battery mates with Cole. So we get Higashioka playing more. We get freaking Mike Trout, the best player in baseball. Now the Angels will never trade Mike Trout. That's just a fact. He's going to be He's going to be an Angel forever, and I don't know if the Yankees could take on his contract. If I'm being honest, his contract is insane. But in a world where budgets aren't a thing and we don't have to worry about them, theoretically that trade could be made. So I'm just thinking to myself like, ooh, that could be good, but I don't think that trade would ever be made. There's just no way. So thinking about it, I think the Yankees just need to trade for a guy like I said, Mitch Haniger, someone like that. A guy who's gonna hit 280 to 300, who's an outfielder who can play good defense. Mitch Haniger's defense isn't the best, but it's also not awful. So there were just so many different ways that like we're just right there, but at the same time we're not. But right now we're playing the Orioles, and then we play the Tigers. Like I said, it's gonna have to be a hard reset. Davy Garcia just got recalled from the minors. I'm so happy, even though Domingo Germán is still in the majors. Whatever, that's fine. What if we traded Domingo Germán? That's another thing that intrigues me. That I would not be, you know, not necessarily like I wouldn't hate it per se, but uh, you know, so yeah, just thinking about that in the Yankees, we're 9-12 right now. We're tied with the Orioles for last in the division. We currently have, let's go. We do not have the worst record in the um American League anymore. The Tigers, the Twins, really, the Twins have a worse record. So the Twins, the Tigers, uh and the Rangers have worse records than us in the AL. Then heading over to the NL, we got the Washington Nationals, who tied with the Marlins, tied with the Reds, and the Rockies have a worse record than us. But so we're just like right there. We're right there. We just need a few more pieces in the outfield to replace the ones that we already have, and then I think we're set. And so I just truly believe that's where we are now. So I just don't know what to think anymore with this team because like I know that they're gonna be fine, but like it's just aggravating. Like baseball, it's every day, and if you're in a slump, it's not gonna end for a couple like a week or so. But in football, oh you lose one game, oh that's unfortunate. At least you don't have to deal with that. You don't have to deal with losing every single day. Unlike with baseball, if you lose 3, 4 games in a row, that is unfortunate, and it's just that grind of 162 games, and that's why I really respect baseball players, and that I think that like what they do is like fantastic because they have to go out there every single day, and put their heart and soul into the game that they love, and play for, I think it's 162 games in like 180 days. That is incredible. Meanwhile, you have football. It's at just a normal season. You play like 16 games in like 4 months. Like, eh, like yes, football is more physically demanding, but still, baseball I'd much rather play one 60-minute game of football than 100. I'd rather play 16 game like one game of football that's going to take 1 hour than one game of baseball that's going to take 3+ hours, and that's going to tire me out a whole lot. So, and with baseball, you're constantly doing something. With football, you play defense or offense, and then boom, you're done. Unless, of course, you're like a DH and you only hit. But you know, so I'm getting off track here. But I just really think that the Yankees are just 1 or 2 pieces away from really making themselves a championship team. And news here: Dodgers activate Lux as Price heads to the IL. David Price, Gavin Lux has I think he's overrated. Like people have been like, oh, just give him a chance, give him a chance. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He hasn't been fine. He has not been fine to say the least. So, oh, and the Orioles are now winning too. Matt, I don't even know. Davy Garcia. I thought Davy Garcia would be better, but I guess not. I don't know. We need more pitching depth. That's what we need. But anyway, back on track. Gavin Lux, he just has not found it yet. He's still only 23 years old, but and then David Price, obviously, he's been. I'm not sure how well has he been doing this year. Like, I know he's been. I know he was like demoted to the bullpen because they got like all the guys there. They got May. They got everyone like that. But let's see, David Price. What are his stats? Oh, he's not been playing well. But anyway, um, so he goes to the IL. Gavin Lux is back, so he'll slide back in at second base. Chris Taylor might have to go back to the outfield, but um, I I just I feel like with baseball, it's like things can change in a matter of days. Like with football, like it might take a couple weeks to fix, like have something develop. With baseball, it's like and something new's happening. Oh, something new's happening. But so with baseball, and it's tough doing a weekly show because like if something happens the day after you record, well, you kind of done for. But anyway, I'm getting off track. MLB draft is in about a month. So, anyway, I think that is going to wrap it up for these 2 episodes for the New Flame Sports Podcast. If you like what we're doing around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the like button. And we'll see you next week. Draft coverage, we're gonna be going completely over the first 10 picks. I'm just gonna say that now, and then just briefly going over some other picks. So be tuned for that draft coverage. Not gonna be as intensive as ESPN or anything like that, but hope to see you there. Peace out. See you next week.